In a small Texas town, a trial was underway. The prosecuting attorney called his first witness to the stand, an elderly woman with a grandmotherly demeanor. Approaching her, he asked, "Mrs. Smith, are you familiar with me?" To which she responded, "Yes, Mr. Jones, I've known you since you were a young boy, and to be honest, you've been quite a letdown. You've told lies, cheated on your spouse, manipulated people, and gossiped about them. You fancy yourself as some sort of big shot, but you lack the intellect to realize you'll never amount to much. Yes, I'm well acquainted with you." The lawyer was taken aback, unsure of how to proceed, so he gestured across the room and inquired, "Mrs. Smith, do you also know the defense attorney?" Once again she replied, "Yes, I do. I've known Mr. Clark since he was a child. I used to babysit him for his parents. And, to be honest, he's also been a disappointment. He's lazy and struggles with a drinking problem. He can't maintain healthy relationships, and his law practice is one of the shoddiest in the state. Yes, I'm quite familiar with him." At this point, the judge struck his gavel to bring order to the courtroom and summoned both attorneys to the bench. In a hushed tone, he warned them, "I will not hesitate to charge you with contempt if either of you asks her if she knows me." A bagpiper received a request from a funeral director to perform at a graveside service for a homeless man, without any family or friends to attend. The funeral was scheduled to take place at a cemetery in a remote countryside location, which was the first burial in that area. However, the bagpiper was unfamiliar with the rural surroundings, causing him to get lost and arrive an hour late. When he finally reached the location, he found the crew taking a lunch break with their equipment, but the hearse was missing. Apologizing for his tardiness, he walked over to the open grave and noticed the vault lid had already been placed in position. Although he assured the workers that he wouldn't delay them for long, he believed it was the right thing to do. The laborers gathered around while continuing to eat their lunch. The bagpiper began to play his heart out, delivering heartfelt melodies. His tunes ranged from "Going Home" and "The Lord is My Shepherd" to "Flowers of the Forest," concluding with "Amazing Grace." Once he had finished, he packed up his bagpipes and returned to his car. As he drove away from the cemetery, one of the workers turned to another, expressing his astonishment. "Dear Lord, I have never witnessed anything like that before. And I've been installing septic tanks for 20 years. A man accompanies his girlfriend to her parents' rural home for the holidays. While the couple lives in the bustling city, her parents reside on a peaceful farm. After a few days, the boyfriend finds himself rather bored with the tranquility of the countryside. The girlfriend's father, noticing his restlessness, suggests, "Hey, young man, if you're looking for something to do, how about taking the dogs out for a bit of hunting? There's a shotgun behind the laundry door." A few hours later, the boyfriend returns, and the father inquires, "How was it?" The boyfriend enthusiastically responds, "That was incredible. Do you happen to have any more dogs?" A man boards his plane and is surprised to find a parrot sitting in the seat next to him, securely strapped in. He decides to order a coffee, but the parrot interrupts, demanding, "And get me a Coke, you cow!" Flustered, the stewardess brings a Coke for the parrot and forgets the coffee. When the man points out the missing coffee, the parrot quickly finishes its Coke and loudly demands, "And get me another Coke, dog face!" Upset, the stewardess returns with another Coke, but still no coffee. Frustrated by the service, the man decides to adopt the parrot's rude approach. "I've asked you twice for a coffee. Go and get it now, you old goat." Suddenly, both the man and the parrot are lifted from their seats and thrown out of the emergency exit by two sturdy stewards. As they plummet downward, the parrot turns to the man and remarks, "For someone who can't fly, you've got guts." A middle-aged traveler arrives at a farmer's door after a long journey. He appears weary and asks the farmer if he might be able to earn a meal and a place to spend the night. The farmer, intrigued, inquires, "Do you possess any particular skills?" The traveler replies, I do have a unique gift. I can communicate with animals. Very well, you're welcome to stay, the farmer decides. I admire your style, and I'll give you some tasks to do around the farm. Thus, the farmer assigns the traveler a series of chores. As the day winds down and they sit at the dinner table, the traveler remarks to the farmer, I understand you may be skeptical, but I truly can converse with animals. I can demonstrate it. I had a conversation with the hens, and they mentioned that you visit the hen house every morning before dawn to gather their eggs. And you've been doing this diligently every day for years since your wife's passing. The farmer is astounded and replies, That's absolutely correct. The traveler proceeds, I also had a chat with your cow, and she informed me that you've been faithfully milking her every morning before dawn, and you've continued doing so every day for years since your wife passed. The farmer, his amazement growing, says, I'm genuinely impressed. That's all so accurate. At this point, the traveler says, And I had a word with your sheep. The farmer interrupts the traveler mid-sentence and exclaims, That sheep is a fibber! A teenage boy goes to church to confess his sins. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I have been with a loose girl. The priest asks, Is that you, little Tommy? Yes, Father, it is, the boy replied. And who was the girl you were with? I can't tell you, Father. I don't want to ruin her reputation. Well, Tommy, I'm sure to find out her name sooner or later, so you may as well tell me now. Was it Patricia Williams? Sorry, Father, I cannot say. Was it Lisa Davis? I'll never tell, replied the boy. Was it Kathy Odell? My lips are sealed, Father. Was it Brenda Jones, then? Please, Father, I cannot tell you. The priest sighs in frustration. You're very tight-lipped, and I admire that. But you've sinned, and you have to make amends. You can no longer be an altar boy until 4 months have passed. Now go and behave yourself. Yes, Father, the boy replied. Tommy walks back to his pew and sits down. His friend Johnny slides over and whispers, What'd you get? Tommy grins. 4 months vacation and 4 good leads. Once there lived a farmer with daughters numbering 5, each one anticipating their very first date to arrive. Their boyfriends all assured him, trying to be witty, that if he didn't approve, he'd use his gun. What a pity. So the first young man arrived and knocked on the door with grace. Hello, he said. I'm Teddy, here to see your daughter, Betty, in this place. We're a couple steady and looking for a charming space to dine at a restaurant, enjoy some spaghetti's embrace. The farmer consented with a nod on his face. Indeed, she's ready, he declared. Teddy and Betty left in their own embrace. Then the second suitor knocked, polite and without haste. My name is Joe, he stated. I'm here to see Flo. Her beauty I can't replace. We're off to the movies for an exciting cinematic chase. May we go? He asked, his hopes afloat and in place. Yes, the farmer replied. It's a lovely base. So Joe and Flo departed to enjoy the film's embrace. The third young man arrived, the smile on his face. Hello, he greeted. I'm Nate, here for a date with Kate in this space. We're off to the roller rink to whirl and to pace, skating our way through the night's embrace. Yes, the farmer nodded, it's a fun-filled case. Off went Nate and Kate to enjoy their rhythmic embrace. The fourth gentleman appeared, dressed up with grace. Hi, he said. I'm Lance, here to dance with Nance, without a grimace. We're attending a high school event, themed with Parisian grace, a night to remember, he stated, his excitement encased. Yes, the farmer agreed. It's a romantic race. Lance and Nance departed, ready for the dance's embrace. Then the fifth fellow knocked, confidence on his face. Hello, he greeted. I'm Chuck, and I'm in luck, or so I embrace. I'm here to take your daughter with no need to chase. May we go together? He asked, his voice in its own space. The farmer acted swiftly, grabbed his gun with no grace, and poor Chuck would no longer be part of the dating chase. If this story weren't rhymed, his fate would be a different case.